Welcome to the Terrible Podcast with your hosts from SteelersDepot.com, where you can find all your latest and greatest Steelers news. It's Dave Bryan and Alex Kozora, always lit, talking Steelers. And now, here's Dave and Alex.
Welcome to the Terrible Podcast, another special edition of the Terrible Podcast, Pittsburgh Steelers Training Camp 2026. I am Dave Bryan from SteelersDepot.com, and with me, as usual, the one and only Alex Kozora, fresh off of his sixth trip to Saint Vincent College in Latrobe to watch the Pittsburgh Steelers go through their practice. And with that, it is August the 4th. It is 5:21 p.m. in the Eastern Time. Alex, happy Tuesday to you.
Happy Tuesday, Dave. Good day at work. Probably a little more physical, a little more intense, and more plays run today than yesterday. So hot day. It's been so far, knock on wood, no rain. That probably will change by week's end, but a good start to the week.
All right, that was my kind of takeaway from, at least what the overview was, that a little bit more oomph in practice, second day in pads, and let's see, what else was there? Red zone focus, and I think a few more team periods was kind of what I wrapped my head around from the Twitter machine earlier today. Alex, before we go any further here, we got to talk about our good friends Touring Plans, touringplans.com. Tell the folks why they should know what Touring Plans is, especially if they're heading out or going to be scheduling a trip to Disneyland, Disney World, or any of the Disney cruises.
Yeah, Dave, this message is for all the Disney fans out there. Been a long-time partnership with Len Testa, head of Touring Plans, big-time Steelers fan and big-time expert when it comes to all things Disney. Touring Plans uses math and science to help out families save time and money at theme parks like, as you said, Walt Disney World and Disneyland. You can find a crowd calendar on their app to show the best days to visit each park when there's the fewest number of people possible, step-by-step plans to avoid standing half your day in lines, views from every hotel room, and big discounts on theme park tickets. So if you're planning a trip to Disney, maybe later this year around the holidays, or go see some family, this is the team you want to work with. Reach out to Touring Plans at their website and download their app. And be sure to tell them Steelers Depot sent you, and you can find links to all of that at the top of today's diary.
Absolutely, and we appreciate them, as usual, for sponsoring these special editions of the Terrible Podcast. They've done it for numerous years now. All right, Alex, we got a little bit of housekeeping to talk about today, and we kind of figured that might be the case when Cole Burgess went down injured during the Monday practice there. He was waived injured by the team before the Tuesday practice got underway, and tell the folks about the new wide receiver.
That is wide receiver Jacoby Keeney James. He was on hand for practice today wearing number 23. Don't think he worked in team, but went through the individual sessions, probably becomes a fuller participant after the off day Wednesday for Thursday's practice. So unfortunate for Cole Burgess, and hopefully he gets well, but that probably was a serious injury. Other injury notes: Deshaun Elliott remains limited, not working every period. Logan Lee missed his second straight day, did some light stretching, but that was it. Jalen Ramsey, Dante Kent, Joey Porter Jr. remain on PUP. Kent was doing some cornerback-like drills, flipping his hips in coverage. Ramsey, Porter a little more spirited, jogging, and Porter was kind of jumping around at one point. So that back injury seems to be pretty good by my eye. We all kind of know what's happening there. So that is the injury front. I didn't see anything. I didn't personally witness any injuries in practice today. They're more likely to mount as we get through some padded practices. I don't recall in my notes having Stephen Jones listed for the back half of practice. He was out there to start, I'm pretty sure at least, but don't have him at the end. And Jennings Dunker was getting second team right guard work towards the end. So I just want to check that for Thursday to see what's going on with Stephen Jones.
All right. And obviously they'll have the day off before then. So hopefully if there's anything that's ailing him, he'll be able to get back in the lines on Thursday there. And with Cole Burgess waived injured, he should clear waivers on Wednesday and then revert to the Steelers injured reserve list on a split salary. And then the team will have 7 days to decide if they want to give him an injury settlement, or if that injury is long term, he could end up being on IR for quite some time. So we'll pass along that info as we get it there. All right, Alex. Anything else in the housekeeping portion before we move on to talk a little bit about what happened during the second padded practice?
No, that should cover it well.
All right, we'll start with the quarterbacks here. Give the folks something to chew on as far as Will Howard and Drew Aller specifically here, and how those guys looked in maybe specifically the red zone.
Yeah, I thought it was a good day for the quarterbacks as a whole. Probably have fewer notes on Aller. Nothing that he did wrong. Just don't have a whole lot of notes on his throws. Maybe fewer opportunities downfield for him today. A couple of boots to the right, but that was really all that I had. But I thought Howard, Rudolph, and Rogers threw some good footballs in red zone, in tight spaces. Rudolph to Skoranek early on. Rogers zipping a couple to Roman Wilson, including one where he was blanketed, Wilson was, by Jamel Dean, and Rogers somehow, as only he can, fitted around him for the score. And Will Howard throwing a nice touchdown to Max Hurlman away from Jack Henderson later in the team period. So thought those guys were all pretty accurate and a cleaner day in terms of the exchange issues that popped up yesterday. So that was a bit better. Just getting some miscommunication with receivers, and that's probably across the board, probably a little more common with Rogers than the other guys. And it's camp. That's what you hear to work out and saw before September 13th, obviously. But I think it's been happening just too often where you're just not getting good reps where the receiver runs one way and the quarterback throws the other, and there's just no play to be made between receiver and DB. So want to see that miscommunication start to dissipate the further you get into training camp.
Well, I saw a clip of that Rogers to Wilson in the back of the end zone with Jamel Dean in coverage. I don't know how he got it. Or
Yeah.
it'd be nice to see. It might not be as close as the if you don't have that
Mm-hmm.
end zone angle. Sometimes it looks like it might be closer than what it is. But at least from the angle that I saw, Roman Wilson had to really get his arms out there. I mean, it looks like he made a very, very nice catch on it as well too. And then the
Mm-hmm.
other kind of red zone one looked like they kind of ran, that kind of fake stock block, if you will, and then it drew two defenders out to the edge, following Pittman there, and I guess the linebacker or safety had come down and bit, and it kind of left open a wide open throw for Rogers to Wilson, who it looked like he had to adjust a little bit on that ball in the end zone as well too. So, all right, anything else on the quarterbacks here?
No, that sums it up well. Just would reiterate offensively as a whole, it was an old school day that worked red zone, as McCarthy talked about before practice, but a lot of under center work. That's been a staple of the offense throughout training camp. And I mean, today in their kind of warm up initial install, offense comes together for the first time, not against the defense, just kind of getting work in. First play, I formation or strong eye, Nowakowski at fullback, Spencer Anderson pulling right to left, just power, old school football.
All
And so
right.
you're kind of definitely getting that feel that'll make a Steelers fan of a certain generation heart three times the size because they love that kind of stuff. And you can certainly respect it. That's kind of the brand of football McCarthy's talked about. You're seeing that on the field, but yeah, quarterbacks that were pretty accurate in the red zone. With those windows get tight, you got to be accurate, and they were.
All right, good deal. I imagine we have a little bit more to talk about with the running backs today, right?
Yeah, there was a lot of team run, and when they're not tackling or having any tackling sessions, it's still a little tougher to know. Okay, would that run really been for 15 yards if that linebacker could have come down and tackled, or whatever the case is? But yeah, I thought I think Eli Heidenreich. You were talking about him yesterday, asking did he get any true running back carries? He got a couple today and found a lane on one run to the left side and busted off a pretty good run. I want to talk about Lou Nichols too. We don't talk about him too much. He was getting some good quality work today. Jalen Warren, I know, talked about kind of comparing himself to Nichols, both short but not small guys. Nichols is built well, undrafted free agents trying to cut their teeth to make it, play on special teams, do whatever they got to do. And Nichols has been getting some of that first team, well, not first team work, but some of the ones work. I mean, yesterday, I guess it was, he did get kind of first team work in 2 minute, but then today when they went into their keep forgetting what McCarthy calls it, spot two work or the dual 11-11 kind of walkthrough stuff. You have, first team on the near field, second team, and really reserves on the middle field. Nichols was with the starters with Aaron Rodgers and with the running backs at Jalen Warren and Rico Dowdle, and all the other running backs were with the twos and Caleb Johnson and Heidenreich and Travis Homer. And so for Nichols to do that's kind of a little depth chart snapshot. Says something about him. 53 is still going to be really tough, but practice squad certainly seems possible.
All right, and he should get a lot of burn during, especially in the first two preseason games. You would think probably all three of them, if he can stay healthy. So look forward to seeing him on the field again. Uh, Caleb, you said something about I think mentioned in your notes too. Although it's kind of special teams related, he was back. They kind of moved him, give him some opportunities with kick returns.
He was in the kick return lines taking him. I don't know if he actually officially fielded one. I don't know if there was a
Okay.
ball kicked to him, but he was on the field opposite of who was it? Let me double check here who that was. They had a couple different pairs out there. It was Roman Wilson and Caleb Johnson were the second group to come in. Eli Heidenreich, Caden Weegen were the first group to return kicks or be part of that kick return unit. And so, despite last year's gap, it seems like they're open to giving Johnson another chance to prove himself.
All right. Good info on Eli getting a couple of carries. Looking forward to maybe him getting a couple of those in a preseason game here, moving forward here. Anything else on the running backs you want to pass along?
No, I mean, I thought Warren Dowdle ran fine, ran well. No big statements there, but nothing negative. Warren did fumble once, but he recovered it. I'm pretty sure he fumbled at least. So I know that's been occasionally a talking point. It's generally been less of an issue the last year or so, but just want to note that too while we're at it.
All right, wide receivers. I've gotten a couple of emails on a couple of Twitter, I guess, kind of questions. What's going on with Michael Pittman Jr.? What kind of camp is he having?
A quiet one is how I really would frame his camp and Jeremy Bernard miscommunication today on one of those deep balls I talked about earlier. The receiver quarterback Rogers not being on the same page. Rogers throws deep and Pittman cuts his route in on a 20-yard dig and pass obviously well incomplete. So, Pittman, it's just been quiet. He's made a couple of catches underneath, but that's sort of been only place he's made some plays and nothing too notable there. And Bernard is somewhat similar. So still early, 6 practices, 2 padded ones in. Time for a new receiver in Pittman and a rookie receiver in Bernard to work with a guy like Aaron Rodgers. But yeah, there's not been a lot to note there. You were hoping for a little more juice from those guys, but we'll see if that changes later in the week.
All right, I saw a nice catch on a clip by A.T. Perry with a defensive back coming at him in his face there in the corner of the end zone there, and I think that might have been Drew Aller that threw that one. That was going to be caught by A.T. Perry or nobody, and Perry came down with that one. So I thought that was a nice catch there. That ought to be another guy that we talk about quite a bit during the preseason, getting a lot of playing time.
Yeah, I didn't see that rep. Was that in one-on-one or was that
I
7-on-7
I think it was. You know what?
in the end zone? Was it in the end
Yeah,
zone?
it was
Okay.
in the end zone.
It was their one-on-one stuff they were doing,
Okay.
and I was watching what was I watching? I think that was when the O-line, D-line were going at it, so, yeah, I always watch the physical group there. So, yeah, Perry's a big guy. I mean, he's got size, and he's got length and a catch radius, so that's good to hear. Haven't really heard him too much in team drills. A couple I think it was one catch the other day he snagged behind him that was nice. I do wanna just mention it even though we kinda talked about with the quarterback. I mean, Ruben Wilson has certainly had a lot of targets so far, but today felt like the first time where him and Rodgers were truly making plays. I mean, he had the 2
All right,
touchdowns, the
good.
one to Dean, the one in 2 minute to end it. It was open, but Wilson had to still reach back and
Right.
still make the play. So, today kinda felt like that connection was really starting to heat up.
All right, that's good news for him for sure, and that's another one that you would expect to get a lot of burn during the preseason due to not playing a lot in the NFL so far over the first 2 years here. So good news that he's starting to heat up here, and as you mentioned, been getting some targets, but making some plays now. So that's
Mhm.
with the second day in pads, that's good to hear. All right, let's move on, I guess, to the tight end position here.
Pat Frymuth caught a big pass in 2 minute. It was empty set. He was number 3 receiver, the innermost right receiver, and he was open. Rogers in that classic catch release, quick release that he has, got it to him, and that really put that team in the goal to go territory. And then just to go back, what we've talked about with Riley Nowakowski and his versatility lined up all over today. Slot right, fullback, Y off, on the line as a tight end in individual period. He begins with the running backs not even carrying the ball, just working on hitting the blocking sled. Actually, it was really interesting. My words might not be articulate enough to paint the picture, but individual period, usually the running back just runs through. They go one at a time. This time you had Nowakowski as like a lead blocker, fullback through the chute, and the running back behind. Never seen individual with like 2 players taking part to kind of simulate a lead play. So that was kind of interesting. And then Nowakowski moved over to the tight ends and caught passes and ran some routes there. So this guy's kind of doing it all. He's on, punt team. He's playing fullback. He's split out. He's catching passes occasionally. So there's a lot of versatility to be had with rookie Riley Nowakowski.
All right. What about some of the back end of the tight ends? Oh,
Yeah,
Galbraiths
McCree,
and
Galbraith, yeah.
yeah.
It's been pretty quiet. I mean, sometimes you can't watch every single rep, and so, I think Galbraith's a good athlete, and McCree, had some plays at USC, just was really hampered by those knee injuries, but, in terms of the team period stuff, those guys have been hard to find. Same with Jaheim Bell, a little bit H-back value too, but he's been pretty quiet in my notes recently.
All right, let's go over to offensive line. Coming off of a good day, first day in pads for Maxi Onachor on Monday. It sounds like he carried that over into Tuesday as well.
Yeah, I didn't watch him in the one-on-ones because I wanted to watch the two since I watched the ones Ihanacho included yesterday, but no surprise to hear that he's still doing a good job. Jennings Dunker I wanted to look at because I hadn't gotten to take a good look at Jennings
Okay.
Dunker yet. I thought he had did a nice job, probably not as quote-unquote impressive as Ihanacho yesterday, but just handling bull rushes, his size, his strength, his anchor, and just playing with a good base. I thought he looked pretty comfortable inside, so that was good in those one-on-one situations. Broderick Jones still need to see a little more run blocking, a little more power there. Dean Lowry's, I think, giving him some fits in the run game. But Jones, he's healthy, he's moving around well athletically. He just probably needs to build that strength back on up. And Doug Nestor continues to get some looks at center. And so I thought he's kind of really showcasing his versatility to state a case for the practice squad.
What's the bar? I mean, how far away is the bar for Onachor to potentially push for that starting right tackle spot in week one?
Well, can you expand? What do you mean when you say the
I
bar?
mean,
Like, what does he have to show?
yeah. I mean, how far away do you think he is from that from the likes of say Dylan Cook and I mean Broderick? We'll have to see how much more if Broderick can even get into some of these preseason games. You would
Mhm.
imagine you imagine at some point that's going to be the case. Hopefully, it's right out of the chute when it comes to Broderick, but we're going to have to wait and see on that. I mean, that's his competition over there on that side, right? So, let me ask you this:
Mhm.
how big a gap do you think there is between Cook and Ionichor?
When I talked to our Cowboys and Packers friends before camp, it was pretty much actually, in fact, one of them, I forget who, apologies, phrased it that the Honda Chore or a rookie would have to look a tier above the veteran to get the nod. Typically, veterans get the initial deference. And yeah, I think Cook's had a fine camp so far, but Ihanacho, if he keeps playing like he has in the initial returns, then he may be that tier above. So to try to best answer your question, I feel like that gap is beginning to close. There's still 3 preseason games to
Right.
watch, and I think the run blocking will have to get better for Ihanacho and get more of a push there. But there's probably some ground that's been made up, at least in my head, in terms of Ihanacho's chances to start week 1.
All right, so it's not unthinkable, right?
Yeah, it's not impossible, and I think the odds have increased. That bar has moved closer
Okay.
towards Ihanacho, but is it there right now? I couldn't tell you who it is today,
Right.
and it's not even worth really making that guess because so much will change. But I think Ihanacho is moving in the right direction for that goal.
All right. And Spencer Anderson still pretty much primarily the right guard.
Primarily, but they mix and match so much. There was at least one rep today where Hoffman was first team right guard. And so there is so much mixing and matching, especially with the offensive line, really the trenches in general, where it's hard to really know, how to interpret that. I've said that many times, and it's just one of those where I
Right.
have to just say I don't know if that really means anything or if it's just getting work in. McCarthy, I know pre-practice talked about that in Dallas he had so many injuries, so he just wants to be super vigilant in terms of getting guys ready for different roles and different combinations. So he's kind of, I think, snake bitten by that, and that's why you're seeing such a heavy rotation, even more so than it was under Tomlin, which rotated a fair amount. So it's just kind of hard to gauge it. But to answer your point, Anderson, the majority of the first team right guard reps, yes.
All right. Is Brock Hoffman getting any reps at center during any of these,
A little
especially the
bit.
team periods?
Yeah, a little bit. Let me see here what I got. Yeah, what do I have here? At left guard, I got him noted for left guard snaps. I know I saw him at center at some point today in team, but he is always in those kind of warm-up drills, working on snaps and exchanges with the quarterbacks after those guys stretch while the rest of the team is in stretch line. So I know he has taken center
Okay.
snaps. I've seen him in there over Frazier, again, just part of that rotation. So it's not been a lot, but there have been some center snaps, yes.
All right. We have a week and 2 days until the first preseason game. From what you've seen so far, would you expect Brock Hoffman to get snaps at center in that first preseason
Mm.
game?
God, I'm really interested in seeing how they sort of stabilize the line for the preseason game because you can't rotate the guys in game, I wouldn't think, the way that they rotate them so frequently where you just can't get settled into one spot.
Okay.
I mean, Frazier's not. I mean, if Rogers is going to play, then I guess Frazier probably could play too. Let me think here. I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna guess no.
You think McCollum comes in as a second string guy, at least
Yes,
initially in the
I
first
think.
one?
Yes, I think McCollum will be either starting or replacing Frazier, depending on if they decide to play Frazier or not. So, if Hoffman does get it, it's going to be later in the game. You got Greg Crippen, the rookie, Nestor. I think they're trying to acclimate him to eventually take center snaps in team to see what that looks like. Even in O-line, D-line, he was snapping at center before blocking to kind of just rep it a little bit more. So I'm going to say no, but it's still on the table.
All right. We got a week and 2 days to kind of sort through that a little bit more and make maybe more educated guesses there. All right. Defensive line. How big is YA Black a little bigger?
I mean, he's always big to a small guy like me, but he's got to be the heaviest guy on the team. That belly is breathing. He's got that medium jersey that rolls up halfway up his waist on or his chest. And so, I mean, when apparently Joseph Day called him 360 today. Was he joking or do you think he was being serious? I didn't
see that one. That one dropped while I was trying to chase some other stuff down for the guys there, so I haven't watched that one yet.
Yeah, I mean, he is just impossibly huge, and so he's still working at nose tackle, but I don't know exactly what he's weighing. It's well north of 300 pounds, I'm sure. But yeah, probably the biggest guy on the team.
All right, Sebastian Joseph Day evidently had some words with Fautano, and it was something to do with not having enough room to work to get his pass rush. I don't think those two went one-on-one in the rep, but I don't think it got out of hand or anything. It just, I think the two of them came together best of my knowledge. I think both of them got over it as quickly as they had the words and all like that. But what else? Tell me about Sebastian Joseph Day and the camp he's having.
Yeah, I think it's been fine. I mean, his steady run defense. I mean, I haven't really noted too much of any particular play from Joseph Day. He's played both end spots, and so he primarily right defensive end, but he has worked the left defensive end too. So I think it's been a fine camp for him. I thought Derek Carmen really had some good run fills today. I thought him and Ben were pretty active in run defense. So nice to see Harmon kind of pop in my notes.
Supposedly, there was a note. Cameron Hayward had a fun snap against Brock Hoffman and put him on his keister, I guess.
Yeah, that was with the ones in, I assume, O-line, D-line, which I did not watch today. So I just, again, it's good for them to get the reps, and I know McCarthy spoke about that. If you're the, sixth string defensive end, if you under Tomlin, you get maybe 1 or 2 reps, and really, what do you benefit from that? Now you're getting probably 4 or 5 reps in that period because they're splitting the group up. But again, it goes back to I can only watch one with any sort of degree of effectiveness, and so did the ones yesterday. Wanted to explore the twos today. Gabriel Rubio showed some power. Probably still kind of working on really honing his bull rush a little bit. But I also thought Kyler Baugh. He's a fun guy to watch. He plays with a ton of energy. He's got really good hand usage, a little bit of finesse to his game, a little explosiveness and burst to his game for a squatty body at nose tackle. He played some end too, and so I kind of like watching how Kyler Baugh attacks his business.
All right, I thought I saw some Dean Lowry propaganda too somewhere.
Dean Lowry propaganda. That was the high school band name that I had. Dean Lowry propaganda. Yeah, I thought he's had some good reps. He's been steady against the run. He's I think given Broderick Jones some fits in the run game, kind of showing his power. And so it's a deep D line, Dave.
All right, good news there. Otomewo's follow up yesterday. You highlighted a couple of plays that he made.
Yeah, he batted some passes down. Didn't do any to my eyes today, but he's chasing the ball hard. There was one toss where he chases it down. So he plays with great effort. He's a good athlete, gets out to run some of those perimeter runs. So yeah, also squarely in this mix. It really has been, at least hurt, unfortunate for him, but those other guys, the Lowrys and Rubios and Otomewas, those guys are really battling hard.
You had mentioned near the start of camp about the division between the coaches with Pecco and the other assistant. Is that kind of still going on?
Yeah, I hadn't taken specific look at it recently, but I think those groups still get. I'll have to check. That's a good question for Thursday. Okay. I don't know because I know you're right. Sean Howe was taking kind of this select group of random assortment of defensive linemen. We were kind of wondering what the common theme was there during some of their indie period stuff. I don't know if that's still been going on. Just to reiterate, though, since we're talking coaches, Patrick Graham always around the front, whether that's defensive linemen, the edge guys. That's where his eyes are always been peeled to. I'd really get to see him, and maybe he has, and I just haven't seen it, but really kind of focus in on the secondary. He's kind of letting Joe Witt Jr. and Jason Simmons do their thing. And so you talk about where's his attention at? It is certainly the front seven.
All right, I'm going to, instead of go to outside linebacker, I'm going to go to inside linebacker, because even in your tweet, you have active day for Pittsburgh's inside linebackers. Tell me about it.
Yeah, it's just that those guys were around the ball a lot in the run game. And the run game had a couple of nice runs, but I thought Peyton Wilson especially, him getting off of blocks, being able to shed blocks. There was one screen pass to Frymuth and then one run play where he was able to get off the block and tag up the runner. And so that's just really good to see. Need to see more of that, because that is his biggest weakness, is block deconstruction, getting off blocks and staying clean and being a little aggressive downhill. And so that was good, but it was also Patrick Queen with a tackle for loss. You had Carson Bruner and Cole Holcomb making plays. And so I thought it was an active day for all those guys.
Okay, Holcomb unequivocally number 3 right now, right?
Yes.
All right. Number 4, Bruner?
Yes.
Ooh, uh, you know what that means.
Yeah, that's about Malik Harris. You just got that the Grinch grin meme thing. That was you right now, just doing that.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Is all I'm
Yeah.
saying. Is Malik still getting work on the edge today?
Did he do that today? Do I have him? Yes, he was working in one-on-one. I don't know if he did it in team at all. I don't have any notes of that, but he was working against Broderick Jones in the one-on-one period. So he has been playing a lot more on the edges.
All right, and there's not much more behind that. Windman and who else? Who else is in that line?
Just Windman.
Okay, all right, yeah, that's gonna now Malik. Assuming he stays on this roster another 9 days, I mean, he's going to get a lot of burn in the preseason somewhere in that game. He has to, you know.
Yeah, I mean, by sheer just lack of options. But I mean, I imagine Carson Bruner's going to play a ton, and Women's going to play a ton, and Holcomb probably get a fair share of snaps. And so, yeah, I mean, it'll be very interesting to kind of see the snap count and the order of rotation in that game.
All right, outside linebackers, what you got?
Not a ton for the starters today. Again, watching the twos. Jamin Davis, it's just been tough for him. There's not much bend. He's just not natural around the edge, and so just gets sealed up the arc a lot. The bull rush really doesn't offer a lot of power despite his size. Really does remind me in many ways of Jeremiah Moon. It's like a big, get off the bus, looks good kind of a guy, but just not bendy. Moon is probably stronger at the point of attack and a better run defender than Davis has been. So, Davis, not a natural edge guy. He's been off ball for a lot of his career. Just looking pretty tough for him right now.
All right. How about you got another note in here as we move into the defensive back groups. Brandon Echols, good camp continues.
Yeah, it's been really competitive with DK Metcalf, and with Metcalf playing more in the slot and Echols getting all the first team slot work with Ramsey still on active PUP. Metcalf has won some, as you would expect and hope, but Echols had a really great play today. Rodgers post route to Metcalf, front of the end zone, Echols skying, knocking the ball away. Is that clip online? I'm sure it is somewhere. It's a really, really good play.
I know Tim had a still shot of Echols going up against Metcalf. I don't know if I saw the actual clip of that.
Okay, yeah, it was really, really impressive rep there. And Echols let Metcalf know about it too. He was jawing with him a little bit. So yeah, I think Echols has been really quality depth, and to see him play well and Samuel play well has been really heartening.
All right, there seems to be a narrative going around, at least on the Twitter machine, that Jamel Dean's not having a great camp. But I'll turn it over to you to address that.
Yeah, it's not been a great camp for Jamel Dean, but I'm also not gonna tout it as some sort of terrible camp or, oh my goodness, the sky is falling. He had a couple of good reps today. He got beat once or twice.
I saw him go forward on one, a quick C to do to break up something up underneath there.
Yeah, that was to Rome in the first play, 2 minute, where he's off coverage and Rodgers thinks he has free access and throws it to Wilson left side, and Dean did a great job to break it up. And then later it was a slant. It might have been to Roman. I'm not sure who it was, but Dean tipped it away and it ricocheted and hit Jaquan Brisker in the chest. And it just happened so fast, Brisker couldn't pick it. But if he did, that would have ended 2 minutes and would have been really a talk of how practice ended. And so, yeah, Dean's taken a couple of lumps. Some of this stuff, defenders still want to be a little careful. They're not trying to get somebody hurt. Probably that mindset is also in the back of their head. But it's been It's been okay for Dean. I'm not going to call it terrible. And today had some really good reps, fortunately. But we're going to just keep watching because there's still so much.
Right.
Jamel Dean's a veteran. 6 practices and 2 padded ones aren't going to define him as a player.
All right, talk to me about the rookie Everett.
What do I have on Everett today? I don't have a ton of notes. I think he got beat. Let's see, what did he get beat? That was a throw from Mason Rudolph to Skoranek, where it was a good ball and it was really well placed, and Everett just couldn't make the play there. Tough play to make. So, still a little grabby. Still kind of waiting for a couple of signature plays there. But, these are all good reps and good learning experiences for a rookie like Everett.
All right, what about the safety group?
Brisker just continues to be a presence. His energy is certainly noticeable. Spears Jennings continues to work primarily first team, while Jenkins is kind of filtering in, and Elliott's still, in many ways, probably even less work today lately for Elliott with the pads coming on than they were doing in the padless sessions in terms of the team stuff for him. So that's all been good for Spears Jennings. And then, Henderson, Castro, not a ton to note there right now. Henderson got beat by Hurlin on that one touchdown. Castro, special teams value is going to be his path. And Spears Jennings, certainly, I think he'll lay a couple of good hits in preseason. He certainly, I think, is anxious and eager to hit. There was one toss to Dowdle left side, and Spears Jennings thumped him. Can't tackle in this camp. So, don't know what it would look like if had Spears Jennings had the green light, but he's a pretty downhill physical guy.
Too, I'm going to go back to, you got anything else on the defensive backs?
Nope, that's all.
All right, 2 guys we haven't talked a lot about since the start of camp on a defensive line, Anthony Goodlow and Kevin Jabadee Jr.
Yeah, I thought Jabadee showed a little bit of explosiveness in one-on-one today. Probably not as effective in terms of shedding blocks, but just kind of like the energy that he has there. And, Goodlow's a good athlete. Just been hard to find playing time for those guys. Often they're with the twos and they're kind of coming in as like the second nickel pairing. And so it's just not been a lot of reps there. I did get to watch them, though. In O-line, D-line, and let's see, a loss to Stephen Jones and Jennings Dunker. He did beat or had a good bowl on Lorenzo Thompson, had a good swim dip move by Jabadee to beat Greg Crippen. That was actually a really good rep by Jabadee. And then Goodlow, what do I have there? Beating Crippen, his bowl against Dunker failed, and then Thompson was able to anchor against him later in the period. So, yeah, just reps are hard to come by. Even in the preseason, it'll probably be tough for those guys to get a lot of playing time, but I think they have some good athletic traits.
All right, how about Julius Welshoff, our old international buddy?
Yeah, it's been pretty quiet. Just not a pass rusher, just not naturally his game. And so he tries, he's smart, he won't get rushed up the arc, he'll double back in, he tries a spin move, just not a whole lot there. Run defense is better than his pass rush. Also, what did I have note? I had also Jabadee was kind of fun. He tried almost like this fake spin where he tried to rush up field against Lorenzo Thompson, and Thompson sealed it initially, and so Jabadee sort of faked like he was going to spin inside, and then kept going wide. Thompson did a good job to not bite on it, but that was kind of a fun little move in the bag of tricks, Kevin Jabadee.
All right. I really look forward to watching him during the preseason. Probably in the second half is when we'll see him. Okay, Chris Boswell 8 for 8 with a long one during early portion of practice, and I guess highlight of Lath Marjan is running and chasing those balls down.
Welcome to being a rookie kicker behind one of the highest paid kicker tied for it in Chris Boswell. So yeah, Boswell 8 for 8. His long was from 56, and the refs are there, which makes it easy to evaluate if the kicks are good or not, because it's hard to tell from the bleacher sideline angle. But yeah, he was good from 39, 41, 46, 48, 50, 51, and is it 54 and 56? That should be 8, I think, if the math is math in there. So they were all perfectly true. I mean, just booming them. So good job there. And yeah, no attempts from Marjan, who just was fielding the ball after the fan would throw it back from the fence line. So that was, I mean, he's just he carried down the equipment today. He's fetching footballs. It's just, yeah, that's how it goes, unfortunately.
He's wearing that prime 34 number too. They might need that before too long here.
Two Bob's meeting. What do you do here?
Yeah.
He'll get some kicks in preseason, I would imagine.
Yeah. Just you kind of wonder if he's going to make it all the way through all of camp here. Cameron Johnson, anything on him today? They do any punting?
Did they punt? I don't think they actually punted today. He did yesterday. It looks good. It always looks good though, when there's no rush or anything like that. So they worked on kickoffs for the first time today, which was good to just kind of get some reps. They did some punting and field goal stuff too. Did they do punting? I don't. They might have done. I don't know if they did punting today. Actually, I might be mistaken on that, but no punting overall by Cameron Johnston.
All right, I'm gonna ask you one offensive / special teams player, specifically on offense. Weegan.
He was in the kick return line like we talked about. He got a carry today. They had a jet run to the right, and there was some good blocking in front. And so they're trying to find a couple different creative ways to get him the football. Obviously, when you look at his height, weight on the combine or draft scout, it's what is it, 5'9", a buck 93. He looks very small. I mean, he just is like the smallest guy out there, and so that's the first thing you notice. Danny Crossman got pumped up. Something in kick return. It was either with Heidenreich or maybe Weejan, something that he was really excited about. It's hard to evaluate. There's no tackling or any sort of contact in those periods. So, yeah, they're finding a couple ways to get him the football in kind of like designed run game. In terms of receptions, very few so far. And so there's not been much meat on that bone, and the reps are been hard to find. But a couple different ways for him to get work. And, of course, he's been in return, punt and kick every single time.
All right, what was your takeaway from the day? Especially let's go goal line. What was the better unit in goal line?
Goal line meaning like the last couple plays they ran?
I mean, or red zone. I'm sorry, not goal line, red zone.
Um, Probably would give it to the offense today. There were some good throws to Hurlman and Skoranek, and the last one to Wilson in 2 minutes. So we'll give the offense the nod here. Yeah, overall takeaways, more plays, a little more maybe intensity today. What else would I conclude? The quarterbacks making some tight window throws in the red zone was certainly one takeaway. Linebackers being active in the run game, another. Those are probably my overall thoughts.
All right, let's see. They are off on Wednesday. They'll get back after it on Thursday, and then they're going to go Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And I think Thursday begins the longer practices for them. And then obviously Saturday night is the night practice at the high school. So we have that to look forward to. Are you surprised or not? Mike Tomlin always had those guys right back out there after the night practice. And I think this team's next day off after Wednesday is actually Sunday. So that's a little bit of a change, right? When it comes to that. So you're looking forward to these next 3 practices?
Oh yeah, it'll be a good time. Yeah, as it ramps up even more and the evaluation continues, it'll be good. Yeah, Tomlin would always have those guys. It'd always be that night practice, and then practice the day after. Usually, often a later practice, but not always. I don't think they're practicing on Sunday. They have one Sunday practice this year, so in training camp. So I don't know if that just how the schedule fell or what, but yeah, it's been different. And like I said, that first 4-day stretch was the longest consecutive stretch. I remember Tomlin, I think he'd go as long as 6 days in a row, a training camp. And so Wednesday's the player's off day in season. So that's why they're going to be off tomorrow to simulate that. So yeah, we'll see what the rest of the week brings.
All right. You will be, let's see, you and I guess, because of no practice Wednesday, we'll do a normal Wednesday morning podcast and drop that sometime around afternoon, I think. And then we will be back after it again after that on Thursday to recap the Steelers' Thursday training camp practice and kind of go from there. And I imagine when we get into there will not be a Saturday night recap training camp podcast, but because they're off on Sunday, we'll be able to get up bright and early and then drop one of those. That way I don't have you summarizing two practices in one podcast like we normally do when Mike Tomlin had him back out there on the field after the night practice here. So at least we got that going for us there. All right, Alex, we're almost to the halfway point here. Good job as usual. And people can go to SteelersDepot.com and read his complete diary recap of day 6 of training camp practice from Tuesday. And so with that, you can follow me on Twitter at Steelers Depot. Follow Alex at Alex_Kozora. Follow the show at Terrible Podcast. Email the show, theterriblepodcast@gmail.com. If you like what we do and want to donate, SteelersDepot.com, hit the donate button. And also, if you'd like an ad-free version of SteelersDepot.com, hit the ad-free button and follow the directions that way. So, until Wednesday morning, as always, thanks for listening to the Terrible Podcast, another special edition of the Terrible Podcast, Pittsburgh Steelers Training Camp 2026 with Dave and Alex.